Okay, guys, try and find a seat. We're going to get started. Okay, thanks everybody for coming to our spring 2014 hackathon for NuPIC. It's great to see some of you that I've seen before at other hackathons. New faces are always good too. So thanks for being here, and we hope you have a good time, and we will be here to help you through with everything. First of all, I am recording and live streaming this feed and sometimes other things that might be going on. So just to let you know, you're fairly warned. If you don't do anything you wouldn't want the internet to see. Also have these recordings available on Ustream afterwards if you want to go back and check to see if you did anything you didn't want the internet to see later. So you might be caught on tape. Feel free to take as many photographs or videos as you like. This is an open source project, an open source community. We are very open about all of this stuff. So post it on Twitter or Facebook, whatever. You can use this hashtag NuPICHack if you'd like to. We'd be very happy if you did that to help promote our project. Thank you to the people who have helped me out with this. All of the staffers have got these hackathon shirts with the word root on the back. It's because we're super users. And so I just put a list of people that are working or helping with Numenta, and then we have a support staff of great support people who've helped me with the logistics and the badging and all of that sort of thing. So thanks to everybody for helping out. And another big thank you to Pinger. This is their office. This is where they work every day, so they have volunteered their space to us at no charge, so it was very gracious of them to do so. So thank you, Pinger. If you want to know what Pinger is, go check them out at pinger.com. So I'm going to let Jeff come up and say a couple of words to kind of kick off the hackathon. I'll take my place here.
I'm supposed to stand here? Is
Yes.
this on? Does that make a difference? Anyone hear it? Okay. I noticed, first of all, that my shirt does not say root. And I think that's because he listed those as engineers. That well, I'm an engineer, but I'm the only person from Numenta who actually probably doesn't code anymore. So if you come and ask me like, where is this in GitHub, blah blah blah, I'm like, oh. But everyone else can answer any technical question you've got. So I think that's why I don't say root. Is that right?
No, but I can tell you later.
Okay. Anyway. Anyway, thank you for all coming here and for spending time with us and working on NuPIC. I just thought you had a few quick comments. I don't know how much time I should spend on this, but just a few quick comments. We think this is really important work we're doing here, and that you're participating. As you all know, I'm sure all of you have heard me speak or knew of me, or hopefully somebody you've heard about me before. But this all got started because many years ago, over 30 years ago, I fell in love with brains. I said, my gosh, we can figure out how the human brain works in my lifetime. Back then, we actually had no idea how it worked, and now we have a really good idea how it works. And when I realized we can figure that out, we can build machines that work on the same principles as the human brain. And the goal there is not to replicate the human brain, not to build humanoid robots, but to build learning machines that are really intelligent, even if they're not at all like humans. Some people want to build humanoid things, but that's not really the goal of all this. It's really to understand how the brain works and build machines that work on those same principles. And I'm 100% confident that the future of machine intelligence is going to be built on the principles that are in NuPIC, that we're working on and you're working on, and so on. And I make the analogy, I've done this in several talks, that this is just like the beginning of the computing era. And I really believe that. We've been building computers now for 80 years or so on the same principles. It goes back into the 1930s when people like Turing and Van Neumann wrote papers about the principles and the concepts, but no one knew how to build a computer. And now in the 1940s, they figured out how to build them, and they entered the 1950s, we had a business, and it's been growing and growing ever since. We're in that 1940s period right now. We have the concepts, we're starting to build this stuff, but we are literally on the precipice of what I can't imagine ever stopping machine intelligence for many, many decades to come, and we're in that pioneer state. And one of the things about being a pioneer is you gotta be very self-sufficient. You have to invent the stuff as you go. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't work. It's not, the infrastructure isn't there. And so NuPIC is perhaps a little bit unusual in that regard as an open source project, is that it's not like easy to just come in and say, okay, I'll start contributing on this thing because I see how it works. NuPIC is a set of learning algorithms and concepts that are difficult to understand initially. Once you understand them, they're really elegant and simple, but initially it's a steep learning curve. And we're figuring it out. We're figuring out, in the analogy, again, back to the 1940s, we're figuring out how to build this stuff for the first time. Nowadays, when you write software for a computer, you don't really know what's going on inside. You don't know about all the registers and the ALUs and how they do a floating point operation and hardware. And you don't know about the microcode and all the stuff. But back in the early days, every computer scientist had to know everything. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're trying to move away from that. We're trying to make this more conceptualized so it's easy to build applications. That's something Matt's working on. That's something we're working on. We're building frameworks. We're starting to build frameworks for people to build applications without having to know all the details inside. But it's more challenging than most open source projects, I would say. And I think that's a good thing, and it's a natural thing. And so that's what makes us all pioneers. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. We're here to help you, and I'm going to be around all day today and tonight, but I won't be spending the night here. And then I'll be back tomorrow. And we have a lot of people to talk about, so Matt's going to talk about applications and other things we can do. So I probably overused my time already.
You're fine.
So thanks for coming here, and I hope it's going to be a great weekend.
Thanks, Jeff. Now back to what I know you've been all waiting for, Hackathon Protocol. So first of all, the portal for the hackathon is numenta.org/hack. This has our code of conduct, the hack registration link, our schedule for the entire event, and it also has a link to an announcements page if we want to inform everyone of something that's going on, and a link to our live stream. So speaking of schedule, well, first a word about the code of conduct. We posted it downstairs when you came in. It just basically says, don't do anything stupid or don't harass people. I mean, you can read through it. It's a standard anti-harassment policy. We don't expect anyone to do anything dumb or offensive, so don't do it or we'll just kick you out. Our schedule today, we're running a little late, that's fine. We are on the kickoff. As soon as this is over with, we're going to start. We have a few of our engineers that will help you get NuPIC installed and running, if you haven't already. So we're probably going to do that in this conference room over here, but I'll take a show of hands of people who think they need that help from us in a moment. At 1 o'clock, Scott Purdy will give you a beginner's guide to NuPIC, and this is really kind of NuPIC processes and functionality. So this would be great if you're new to NuPIC to sit in on this talk. It'll be right here at 1 o'clock. It's great for everybody to come and watch this talk, if nothing else, just to be in the glow of Scott's presence. At 2:30, Subutai Ahmed will talk about anomaly detection using the CLA. This is something that Numenta as a company has done really interesting things with. So we know a lot about anomaly detection and the community in general. We don't talk a lot about anomaly detection, but it's a really interesting capability of the CLA. So Subutai will talk about that at 2:30 right here. At 4, Jeff will give a very informal whiteboard talk about some ideas about temporal pooling. So come and enjoy that at 4. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Chetan Serper will talk about the cortical learning algorithm and how it is implemented in NuPIC. This will be a very detailed technical discussion. Sort of at an advanced level, but if you want to get into the nuts and bolts of the CLA and how it works in NuPIC, it'd be a great place to be at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning when you're all really well rested. I will talk at 1 o'clock about the state of the NuPIC open source project, where we've been over the past year since we've open sourced, where we currently are at, and our vision for the project in the future. And then at 4 p.m. tomorrow, we will start demos, and that is you guys giving demonstrations of what you've created over the past 36 hours. On to the Pinger offices. So this is a map of the office. You are right here facing me, and behind you are some workstations that are unavailable and some that are available. So what I'll say about workstations is use your discretion. If they look like they are occupied, if there are personal effects strewn about the workspace, don't use it. Try and find another place to work. If you can't find a place to work, come and talk to one of us with the root shirts and we'll try and find you a place to work. So upstairs, all these offices are off limits. We do have this room here, which is sort of a lounge area, and this big conference room. You're free to work in those spaces if they're not occupied. And if you can find an open workspace, you may work there. You can fit 2 to 3 people in any of these little workspace areas. crunch together, get comfortable with your neighbor. We have bathrooms directly behind us. They have a code. The code is posted on the door. So this is the 3rd floor. If we go 1 floor down, oh yeah, there's an emergency exit plan. However, I don't know how viable this is because I checked the one emergency exit and the door to the stairwell was locked, so I guess it's every man for himself. Downstairs, so there's this big landing here and stairwell. So when you go downstairs, there's a big kitchen area that's kind of directly underneath of us, and that's where we'll be serving meals and snacks. There are a few rooms that are open for use. There's a little mini scrum room in the front lobby area. There's a conference room as well, and there's a couple of open offices along this back wall that you can use if they're unoccupied. Generally, if a door is closed, don't go into it. All the doors seem to be open where we have open space to work. There's a lot more open workstations downstairs as well. Same rule applies, use your discretion. If it looks open, it probably is. If it looks occupied, it probably is, and leave it alone. Same disclaimer about the emergency exit plan, but it's there. That's the proposed emergency exit. Okay, so a couple of things about the facility. On the weekends, we have no control over this. The elevator takes a key to go up from the bottom floor. You can always go down, but you can't get back up unless you have this key card. So we're going to have someone posted there for the major hours of the day, today and tomorrow, to help people get up and down. If you need to come or go and nobody is there, we've got a flyer taped to the door with a couple of phone numbers. So call those phone numbers and somebody hopefully will be able to let you in. So we'll come down and let you in. You're free to go and come as you please. It's Cinco de Mayo weekend in San Jose, so there's probably going to be some parties going on downstairs and on the streets for most of the night. And you will hear them up here. You can sleep here. We actually have some sleeping pads, so it could be a bit more comfortable than the floor. So if you want to stick around, just come ask us. When it gets late, we'll start putting some sleeping pads out. Just feel free to grab one and find a dark cubby hole somewhere and go to sleep. The Wi-Fi is posted on the back of your badges. If the pinger guessed Wi-Fi seems to be flaky, Gordon Birch has given us use of their Wi-Fi by not securing it. So feel free to use that. Okay, wear your badges, please, as much as you can remember to. Food and drink is downstairs. Clean up after yourselves. The paper plates and the plastic utensils and stuff are all compostable. So in the trash bins down in the kitchen, there's 2 compost bins. So try and throw the compostable stuff in there. Try and pick up after yourself as well. We'll be going around kind of picking up, and this generally isn't a problem. But if you see some empty bottles and cans or something, and you see a trash can, just gonna toss it in. And I already talked about the code of conduct. I don't anticipate any problems with respectfulness. This is a pretty tame crew. Okay, communications at the hackathon. I highly encourage you to go to our IRC channel on Freenode. If you're not an IRC person, that's okay. I wasn't really an IRC person for the longest time, but I get into a lot of good discussions on IRC with people in the NuPIC community, asking questions, trying to figure out how to do things. So if you want to be engaged in some of those discussions, please join in. And also use the mailing list as well. We do have 3 mailing lists. You can find links to these on the numenta.org/hack website. We've got a theory list, a discussion list, and a hackers list, which is more for developers of the NuPIC software. If you do find any bugs, I encourage you to report them. There's a link on our main website, numenta.org, on how to report bugs. And like I said before, spread the word about NuPIC and about this event using the NuPIC hack hashtag. Tweet about it, post about it on Facebook, G+, whatever the cool social network is today. Okay, so I have a couple questions for the audience. I want a little bit of participation by show of hands here so we can get an impression of how we can help you guys out. First of all, who has ever been to a hackathon before? Good number of you. Okay, that's great. So if you find yourself confused about what's going on or what the protocol is, just ask someone around you, apparently, and chances are they will have been to one before. Who has actually built NuPIC? Okay, that's better than I thought. Great. Okay. Every hackathon, it gets a little higher, the percentage. So, very good. So I'd say that was most of you. That's great. So who has actually run any of the examples, like the hot gem example, the sine wave example, any of the examples, the CPU example, there's an audio example. Great, most of you. Excellent. Who has taken your own data and passed it into NuPIC, or at least attempted to pass it into NuPIC? Good. Okay, those are encouraging numbers. Thank you. So on that note, who needs help installing NuPIC? 1, 2. Don't be shy, please. This is going to help me decide where I'm going to put you guys for the install-a-thon. Great. We're going to put you guys in this conference room right here. As soon as this meeting is over, after maybe a 10-minute break, congregate in that conference room right there, and we'll have a couple of our engineers try and get you up and running with NuPIC on your machines. Thanks. For everybody, we do have, if you want more information, I'm trying to guide everyone kind of down the same path. For some starter resources for learning about how NuPIC works, learning about how you can use NuPIC yourself, I would encourage you to go to the wiki, which I have circled here. So this is nupic.org. There's a link to the wiki right on the menu. And if you go to the wiki, there's kind of a flow. If you want to learn about the theory, there's a link to that. There's videos with some of our engineers talking about how the CLA works. Subutai has a video about a deep dive into the CLA. There's Jeff talking about sensory motor integration. That gives a lot of background into the core theory of CLA and HTM. There's also a page on building and installing NuPIC, which we will help you with soon. And the using NuPIC link gives videos and tutorials on how to build applications using NuPIC. As much as we have available at the moment. I'm constantly trying to build this out, put more tutorials up. We need more stuff about swarming and about anomaly detection and stuff like that. So I'll be populating this page during this year as well. But there's already some good resources there if you want to watch some videos or screencasts on how to use NuPIC. Be a good place. The learning NuPIC is more some reference data sort of about how NuPIC works, the details about the components of the software, the OPF, the online prediction framework, that API. And then there's a link if you're interested in contributing to NuPIC. If you find a bug and you think, hey, I might be able to fix that, that'll show you what our process is for getting your changes, your code contributions into our software. Okay, so we're almost done. Last thing I want to talk about is ideas for hacks for the hackathon. So I'll start out because I have an idea that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I've never had the chance. But I heard about this hackathon this weekend that I might be able to do this. So I've been wanting to do some audio processing. There was a guy named Tim that did an example that we ended up merging into our code base. Is he here? Tim Macrina? Macrina? No? Okay, anyway, he did this audio processing example where he took audio from his own Mac and streamed it into NuPIC. And I don't know all the extent of it, but it worked somewhat. So I want to do something like that. This is my hack that I want to do, is I want to take some type of audio processing software like Audacity or something, and take some audio recording and break it up into like histograms or something, so I can get like frequency bands and somehow pass the levels of this histogram into NuPIC and see if I can at least get some anomaly indications. Maybe it could be like a really repetitive techno song or something with patterns that are easily distinguishable, so that I can note when the song changes, something like that. So I'm interested in doing some type of hack like that. And I know other people have other interesting ideas, and this is a chance where I want you guys to actually stand up and say, I have an idea, I'm looking to do this. If anybody's interested in working on this with me, come talk to me. Jeff, I know you have some ideas too, so why don't you share a couple of things, and then I want to pass the mic around. If anybody has any ideas, I'll have you raise your hand.
Well, I'm not going to do a hack.
That I know, understood.
Right, so, but there's something we want to do at Numenta, and I think we agreed that we'd just throw it out and see if anyone wants to work on it. We've done a lot of work with anomaly detection of numerical streams of data, and we'd like to try to apply it to two-dimensional geospatial data. So the idea is you would track someone's movement
Is this mic on?
I don't know. Is the mic?
Oh, there it is. Just hold it closer.
Closer. There we go. I suppose I'm supposed to stand over here so people can stream it. Anyway, the idea would be to get data from like your phone as you're moving around, walking around downtown or something like that, and you'd have to build an encoder to turn that into a sparse distributed representation. We have some ideas how to do that, which I could share with you. And then that would be and then you'd also want, there'd be a visualization component. You want to show your tracking with anomalies as you're moving through space. So how unusual is it you've gone down this street at this time of day and things like that. So there's a bunch of components to that. If anyone's interested in that, we can tell you a little bit more about it. But again, I'm not going to be working on it, but something we actually want to see done, and maybe if someone's interested, you could work on that.
Aaron, I'm going to volunteer you. Where's Aaron? Yeah, you had some ideas. Would you come up and say a couple words about them? He's tight-lipped. Okay, anybody else? All right. Rob Freeman, right? That's right. Okay. Yeah, come on up. Get right behind the podium. Everybody can see you.
Well, I'm interested in modeling language, syntax, phrases in particular.
Closer to your mouth.
Sorry? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm interested in modeling language, phrases, syntax, and I have basically I have an algorithm for doing that, which I'd like to implement in NuPIC. So anybody who's interested in that kind of project, I'm not such a coder, but I have some ideas on the subject. And basically anybody who's interested in language, love to talk to you.
Should we mention this?
Thanks, Rob.
I don't see them here yet, but
No, he's back there. So if you're interested in language, Rob, you should talk to Francisco Weber. He's in the back. He's the founder of Sept. If you're familiar with his Word SDR technology, they're doing some really interesting stuff in that space. So talk to him. I saw another hand up. Yeah, will you come up? Please introduce yourself and talk about your idea.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey Alexishenko. I run experiments with artificial intelligence technologies. I have two ideas to test. The first one is simply building a hierarchy that's kind of in a column shape, adding a few regions on top to a numerical data prediction to see if the predictive capabilities of the algorithm improve as you do that. The second one is building a hierarchy to do predictions in economic data, start on state levels in the United States, get a few economic variables, and try to do a prediction model off of that.
Thanks, Sergey. Anybody else want to volunteer? Have an idea? Come on up. This is great. There we go.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Praveen Kumar. I have not built a NuPIC app yet.
Mic up.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I have not built a NuPIC app yet, but I had this idea about maybe... okay, sure. So for example, take like an item that's in the news, let's say like Syria, for example. Maybe using that keyword, aggregate data from Twitter, like around Syria, and then maybe detect anomalies as surrounding keywords around Syria change in the tweets. So for example, the narrative in Syria is like, kind of going a certain way. So there are like common keywords surrounding Syria, but maybe over time, something new happens in Syria and, in the war, and maybe some new keywords emerge and maybe detect anomalies around that. And other than that, I was, I was also interested in like learning more about Firebase. So maybe about how to like integrate, Firebase data source with Numenta or something like that.
Thank you. Thanks, Praveen. There you go. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Steve Levis. I'm interested in motor control. I'm thinking about making a sort of a primitive 1D organism that might play like Pong or Shuffle Puck and have vision, but it only starts out where it reacts just to what it sees in front of it, and then using NuPIC to do predictions to help it improve its selection of which direction to move in and see how well it works.
Good. We always like games. Games are good. Aaron. Yeah.
I thought you meant doing only with geospatial.
Oh, no.
Hi. At the previous hackathon, I had done some work with adding an imagination function to the CLA, and this was basically the idea that, you know, could you make a decision by predicting what the possible outcomes were of a range of choices? So if, let's say, you were in a maze and you wanted to turn left or right, you know, which way is better? Well, you would like to be able to ask the CLA, can you predict, say, something if I were to turn left or were to turn right? And that implies that you some new functionality for the CLA to be able to do that. And so I had done some work then, and I'm thinking of continuing that work, but in this case, not simply predicting where cheese might be in a maze, but instead on evaluating, on taking hints over time. Let's think of it as though a mouse sees a signpost or another hint or a scent trail, and based on those kinds of inputs, be able to be more robustly find the cheese, shall we say. So I'm thinking of continuing the work that I had done last time with imagination and making good decisions. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. Okay. Let's get Marcus, right? Yeah.
All right, this is more for like cross-pollination than really, because I'm kind of still learning it, but I'm looking at taking just event streams from just like traditional client software. For instance, I'm using Windows for it because I happen to know a bunch of events they have set up, and just trying to find where NuPIC can make sense of it and find out what I need to send in between, for instance, if you have 2 instances of Internet Explorer open, do you need to send in extra data before it can realize, oh, there are 2 of these. Now that I'm no longer seeing anomalies, it makes sense that I'm seeing this stream. And I just want to keep doing that and introducing more and more till I can just see if I can reach a point where an anomaly is suddenly useful to me. I'm like, whoa, this sees an anomaly because there's something wrong happening. So I want to see if there's anything there. Just kind of hand in hand learning NuPIC and seeing if there's any treasure to unbury in this space. So that's it.
Definitely watch Subutai's talk on anomaly detection.
Can I add on to that?
Yes.
So another thing we're very interested in looking at, we've had people have been interested in looking at Grok, our product for anomaly detection, but applying it to unusual behavior on insider intrusion detection. This is like, they call it the Snowden problem, detecting someone who's like going rogue inside of an organization. And the idea is detecting unusual behavior. And there's a big business opportunity there. So one of the things is just taking simple metrics off of someone's PC, like keyboard statistics or application statistics, you can measure at a regular time, and then see if they start behaving differently at some time in the future. That's related to what you were just talking about, I think. That is a big application that a lot of people are interested in. So that's something we're interested in as well. So I can share some thoughts about it if you want.
I'm looking forward to his talk.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I always keep my behavior unusual. Chayton, let's do yours. We'll do yours, and then we probably need to wrap it up.
Okay, so not necessarily an idea, but a resource that hopefully might spark some ideas. I worked on a project called Fluent for this preparation for this hackathon, so people can, it's along the side of language prediction. It's a API and a Python library, so a web-based API and a Python library that you can feed it words, and it'll predict the next word using the CEP technology. Those guys are there in the back, and the CLA together. So it'll actually try to understand what what the words mean and what words should follow. And so you can feed it a word. It's pretty simple. You feed it a word, a sequence of words, and it'll predict the next one. And so maybe that's a resource available for you guys to use for those of you interested in language in your projects, maybe in making some kind of language-based games or apps of that kind.
That's something you can do at a very high level without really getting deep into the...
Exactly, yes. Yeah, that's right. So the point of this is to give you that interface without you having to understand anything about CLA or CEPT or anything like that. You just give it a word or a sequence of words, it'll predict the next one. And you can use that in your applications.
Yeah.
I could, if you'd like. It's
yeah. Why don't you we can do a quick demo of that right after this presentation if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. One more. Just introduce yourself real quick.
So I'm Craig Kite, and I've posted this actually on the Numenta discussion mailing list, Angry Bots in AI World. I don't know if you saw it. It's a 3D game. I'm sort of taking the data from that, and I want to train NuPIC on it to play the game. And I've taken the images from within the game and actually transformed them through an open source pre-trained neural net called Cafe, and it won like some ImageNet competitions. So I have basically a vector of 1,000 real numbers, floating point numbers from the image that I want to feed into NuPIC along with the like was shot and shot landed like Booleans, because it's a first-person shooter. So it's just a Boolean of like, did I get shot? Did I hit a guy? And what were the moves just in the previous time step, in the previous frame? So like a sensor motor network that has the behavior and then the perception, and trying to train NuPIC so that he can basically not get shot and land shots.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so that wraps it up for this kickoff presentation. Let me just give a quick shout out to Jeff Full, who designed our t-shirts. Hey, Jeff, he's right here up in front. Other than that, let's take a 10-minute break. 10-minute break, and for those of you who need help installing NuPIC, meet in this conference room right here in 10 minutes, so that'd be about 11-ish, okay? And then Chaitan's gonna do a little Fluent demo in about 10 or 15 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. And we'll just, okay, so we'll do that right here in 10 minutes. Thank you.